Hi guys, it's Rich with Pitlanes.com. Today I've got a comparison of the Skip Barber regional car from iRacing and rFactor2. I'm going to do it at Lime Rock Park. I'm recording this with Shadow Play. I'm not particularly happy with the mic audio quality with this, but I figured I'd give it a shot anyway. I'm mainly doing this because I did a comparison of the McLaren GT3 cars between iRacing and Assetto Corsa, and people seem to enjoy it, so I figured the next logical one was the Skip Barber car. I am aware Empty Box did this about a year ago, I think, but that was on the old tyre model and things like that, so, well, the new tyre model 4, but the old tyre model now. So I figured, what the hell, I'd give it a go. Some people might find it helpful, I might get bashed, who knows, but I figured give them a go and see what's what. So I'm going to do a few laps, don't know how many really, but do a few laps and just give my impressions. I'm going to use the same weather on both sims, and just the default setups. I'm not going to play with anything really. It literally is just jump in, have a little tart about in them, and see what I reckon really. So yeah. Now the Skip Barber car. Well, actually, let me start by saying on Reddit and things, I do see quite often people saying, "Oh, I tried iRacing, and that Skip Barber car, there was like no grip at all." Now, I've got to say that on new tyre model 4, version 4, I'm inclined to agree. The rear end used to step out constantly, and when it did, it was nearly uncontrollable. You know, the slide wasn't catchable a lot of the time. You had to be really thoughtful with your inputs and things like that. And while you still have to be, it's somewhat more forgiving now. I mean, just as an example, in the UK and I section of iRacing, the Skip Barber series went from having 4 people, just 4, on version 4 of the tyre model, racing per week, to now grids of 50 plus. It is so much better. It's a lot more user friendly, predictable, and more importantly, when you have an issue, like you probably didn't see there, but got a little bit of oversteer, you can feel it, you can correct it, and it's a much improved car. So if you've not driven the iRacing Skip Barber in, I don't know, I can't really remember how long ago it got it, about 6 months maybe? If you've not driven it in at least that long, and it was the tyres or the lack of grip and things that put you off, then maybe it'd be a good idea for you just to get like a month's subs and see what it's like. I just wanted to get that out of the way because a lot of people sort of have an opinion of iRacing based on old content, you know, if you like. See there, the rear end got really quite out of shape there, and just a little bit of oversteer, gently put on, and it corrected. So that's nice, sort of thing. Now this, while it is laser scanned, this circuit, it is, from what I'm told, I don't know the Lime Rock track that much myself, or the history and things like that, but I am told that it's desperately in need of a rescan and things like that now, because it's somewhat out of date. So like in a moment when I go on rFactor2, even though theirs isn't laser scanned, it is officially licensed, but there are a few different layouts possible there, so it is sort of a new version of the same track, but it's probably the best place I can run a comparison. So as for the car, it's I think it's a brilliant learning car. Having driven the rFactor2 version as well, I kind of agree over there as well. I think it teaches you about the importance of like weight transfer and understanding what the car's doing beneath you. And I'm talking, this is about the iRacing version, and it's a good introduction. So in iRacing, I believe it's the D license level, so it's sort of just out of rookie. You're learning your racecraft, you're still getting used to the sim, and it's perfect for that because there is plenty of grip there. You just have to sort of respect it. So like when the rear gets out, you need to know why and things like that. But there's plenty of grip, he says as he nearly runs off the track. And generally, the big issue that used to be with the iRacing Skip Barber car was that when you had a spin, you used to sit at the side of the circuit and be like, well, what happened there? You know, the arse end would just go, and you'd be baffled as to why you had an issue in the first place. But as you can see, I'm going along and I'm absolutely useless at talking and driving. I think I've said it before, I envy Empty Box in his ability to do that, just because it puts me off so much. But I'm keeping this on the track really well. I actually don't know how far off the race pace I am. See, I got really out of shape then, and I can almost guarantee on version 4 of the time model I would have spun there. But now with some thoughtful oversteer, thoughtful corrective counter steering, we're all good and we're still going. Which has also made it into a better race car, because it's more accessible, people want to drive it more, and yeah. So this is a perfect example of where iRacing are going, I think, with their content and what they're doing right currently. You only have to drive this car and then go and drive any version 4 car just to see the glaring weaknesses of the tyre model for me, the old version 4 that is. And I think it's kind of a shame because so many people have been put off by how the Skip Barber used to handle on iRacing, and I honestly can't praise it enough because around here it's feeling really nice. It really is. Feedback's good. It's very informative as to what the car's doing. You can feel the under and oversteer, and it is delicate enough for you to feel that. You know, it's really nice. And again, it's good for either moving onwards on iRacing with your GT cars or your open wheel cars, because it teaches you how to handle your car and why it's doing certain things. Now, if you've got iRacing or you've been a member and you haven't driven it on tyre model 5, as he nearly loses it, then give it a go. I'm sounding a bit like a broken record now, but it's strange because I'm not really maybe reviewing this. I'm just talking about the wider situation, but it really has made a massive difference to it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish this lap and see you in rFactor2, where I'll do some laps in the same car and we'll see what happens, and I'll give my honest opinion on a comparison. I've been driving a lot of rFactor2 lately, but I haven't really driven Lime Rock or the Skippy, so we'll see, and I'll see how they compare and what I think of both. Okay, so here we are on rFactor2 in the Skip Barber car. It's the regional one, which I believe is the correct one to be testing. Otherwise it makes this whole video invalid, so that's probably going to happen, knowing my luck. But yeah, I've basically loaded it up. Now, one thing I did want to point out is, just for a bit of a comparison, iRacing was on maximum graphics settings. I set absolutely everything up as high as it would possibly go on 1920 by 1080. So I've done exactly the same in rFactor2, and I will leave it up to you guys as to which you prefer, because I mean, there are times, I'll be honest, that I find rFactor2 gorgeous in the correct lighting, and then there are other times where I'm very, very sort of you know, like, that's alright, I suppose. In its defence, LimeRock, by the developer's own admission, needs revisiting and updating, but again, so does iRacing's LimeRock, so take that with a pinch of salt, though I do personally accept that ISI are sort of learning about their different technologies as they're going along, but then again, iRacing's newer tracks look great in comparison with the older stuff, like Bathurst. It looks amazing and things like that. So whatever, you guys make your own opinions. I know which one I prefer, and I'm pretty sure it's the iRacing one around here, as far as the tracks go. Now, a quick little test. Hopefully the volume's okay. The sound, I personally feel there's maybe a bit more sort of depth to the sound in the rFactor2 version of the Skippy. I don't really know what they sound like in real life, but I like how it sounds though. So let's get it out on track. I've probably cooled the buggery out of the tyres, but we'll see. So this is kind of a test as well about my graphics. Oh shit. Well, now let's just give it a minute, because I may have been sat there for absolutely ages and the tyres could have totally cooled down. Wow. Right. I don't really know what to say. Let's give it an lap and see. Because that, well, you've just seen what I did in iRacing, and yeah, but we'll see. Whoa. There's definitely frame rate issues in comparison with iRacing, but I think maybe the trees and things like that are maybe more detailed over here. The environment looks really nice around the circuit, so I'm going to say take that first spin with a pinch of salt, because I believe, looking at my tyre temps now, they were a good 10 degrees cooler, so I'm not going to edit it out just because it is what it is. If anything, because I feel there's way more grip now. If anything, to me that shows that the tyre model works, sort of thing. Because cooler tyres, less grip. That's my understanding anyway, so. Now, I don't really tinker with my force feedback, I have to say. A lot of people do, but I basically just set it up and go. I don't tweak per car and things like that. I do know certain people do, but I definitely don't do that. So on that, excuse me, something I'm finding which is surprising me is initially I feel as if the iRacing feedback has more detail to it. Now that surprises me, because normally I find the rFactor2 feedback much superior to most sims, if I'm honest. Shit. Yeah, I really like the rFactor2 feedback normally. There seems to be sort of a lack of grip. I'm wondering if this is the same version. I think it is, as the one on iRacing. It feels sort of a mix between the Tyre Model 4 Skippy and the Tyre Model 5 Skippy, because I feel like there's grip there, but it's sort of on a knife edge, you know? I feel as if there should be more grip. Now, everyone calls iRacing ice racing, but in this case I feel like there's more grip over there. Now, I'm going to do some more laps and see if I can inform this decision more. It's a very fun car still over here. Just the other day I was driving it around Circuit of the Americas, which might sound insane, but it feels tailor-made, I promise you. And there's like a very tight left-hander at the end of the main back straight at Circuit of the Americas, and I basically drifted all the way around there. So there is feel in this. It's just jumping straight out of iRacing into this. I don't know, it's coming to me now a bit, this. Now I'm not sure whether it's me sort of acclimatising or the tyres coming to me a bit. I'm not really sure. But it's starting to feel really good. It could also be to do with the real road, as you can see, the rubbering of the track there, which is a thing iRacing don't have. Hopefully sometime in the future they'll have this kind of thing, because right now there's noticeable amounts more grip as I'm driving around, and I'm feeling the car more. I think it is me sort of acclimatising to it. Now, this is always sort of a subjective thing, because obviously it's down to my personal feeling, and having never driven a Skip Barber car for real, you know, it is just my feelings and what I'm saying to you. So what I'm thinking after these laps thus far is actually, after a couple of laps getting warmth into the tyres, they're somewhat comparable in grip levels, but then when the grip goes like that, I feel the iRacing version is somewhat more intuitive to catch. It just seems to make sense more. You're catching this in the same way, but it's not that it's easier, it just feels more natural within iRacing. Now, I will put a disclaimer on that I've driven Skippy on iRacing a lot, a hell of a lot, so that could be why, because in honesty this is probably about the 5th time I've driven this, and probably about, I don't know, my 50th ever lap in it. So again, very subjective. Okay, time for a bit of a verdict then, I guess, because I've been driving around quite a bit. So what I think is, both great cars. I think the iRacing version may be a touch more forgiving on the edge, as the grip seems to fall off quicker in the rFactor2 version. What I said about a learning car with the iRacing version, I think runs true about this, because it's all about weight transfer, loading up your corners, and I mean corners on your car, not actual track corners, and understanding your oversteer, your understeer, getting the power down correctly and things like that. So I think they can serve the same purpose in both sims, which is a great thing, and should be a port of call for any budding sim racer in either sim. I think that they should put in some laps, and it will teach them some good things about the dynamics of race cars, I think. That, together with one good tip from me, is to go and have a look for the Skip Barber video. Oh, what's it called? I think it's just called Going Faster or something. And it's like an hour long. It's on YouTube, and it is really quite old, but everything it says in that video is valuable, and it's true even now, even though it's old. You know, the dynamics of racing don't change, like the physics of it. So what it tells you is really good. But I have to say, I mean, I came to a very similar on the fence kind of verdict about the McLaren GT3s on Assetto Corsa and iRacing. I kind of feel the same, really. I think this car, I mean, you can see now I'm lapping really quite comfortably. I mean, what lap times am I doing, out of interest? I wonder if that means I think I'm about 3 seconds slower a lap, unless this one's faster, marginally. So I'm a couple of seconds slower in this version than the iRacing version, whatever that means, if anything. I think the car, I think maybe the spin shows the importance of getting your tyres warmed up within rFactor2, because I'd sat in the pits there and there was like no grip whatsoever when I came to the second corner. But they're both great cars, I have to say. I think I prefer the iRacing one. I'm going to go with that. I prefer the iRacing one, but I do feel that this is also a really good interpretation of the vehicle, and will serve the rFactor2 community really well if they choose to race it. Basically, it's really nice. So yeah, I guess that's where I'll leave the video. I hope you've enjoyed. Oh, I did want to turn in there, but I've fluffed that right up. Nice. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm planning to do more comparison videos in the future. What I'm thinking is the BMW Z4 from Assetto Corsa with the iRacing one when that comes, and I might add the EGT5 mod, is it the Bayro, into there as sort of just a comparison to see how good they've got that from rFactor2, that payware mod. Just as sort of a three-way comparison, the two official licensed ones versus the payware mod, and just to see how they compare. But anyway, that's the end of the video, guys. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I shall catch you soon. Cheers.